You're about to embark on an epic journey through the Wild West like you've never seen before. Prepare for the triumphant return of Johnny Walk and discover the truth behind the enigmatic Sheriff Hardline. The scorching sun, the dust that dances in the wind, and the streets of a small town that buzz with rumors and ancient secrets. All this awaits you. It's not just a simple reunion with the past. It's an explosion of emotions, confrontations, and revelations that will hold your attention from beginning to end. Johnny Walk returns with a wealth of experiences that transformed his heart and soul. But what is he looking for? Redemption? Justice? A new life? What about Sheriff Hardline? Is he the bastion of law or a tyrant hiding under the cloak of authority? His story, his motivations, and the conflicts that put him on a collision course with Johnny will be revealed in a narrative that goes beyond black and white, exploring the nuances of morality and the desire for change. Don't miss every moment of this electrifying story that promises surprising twists and deep insights into human complexities. Press play, leave a like to show your support, share with friends to spread the excitement, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any details of this incredible journey. The Wild West has never been so alive, and your adventure begins now. The sun burned on the horizon, turning the sky red, while dust danced in the streets of a small Wild West town. Rumors echoed, whispers of the return of Johnny Walk, a man who had become a legend. What would have brought the outlaw back to that land of challenges and confrontations? The city was in an uproar, and Sheriff Hardline, known for his steady hand and penetrating gaze, was not about to let the past repeat itself. But who really was Hardline? The man everyone feared and respected, or just a shadow of his own story? Tension hung in the air, and Johnny Walk's every step seemed to resonate like a drum, awakening memories of old confrontations and broken promises. The inhabitants asked themselves, what had changed in Johnny? And more importantly, what did he want? Eyes turned to the horizon, waiting for the inevitable confrontation between past and present. Get ready. The Wild West has never been more alive, and the truth about Johnny Walk and Sheriff Hardline is about to be revealed. Follow every moment of this electrifying story. Return of Johnny Walk. Johnny Walk returns to the city after a long period away, and his return is not just a simple reunion with the past. He carries with him a heavy baggage of experiences and changes that have shaped his personality. Throughout the narrative, we see how he evolved from a rebellious young man into a man seeking redemption and a new purpose. This transformation is one of the central points of the story, as Johnny is no longer the same, and upon returning, he needs to deal with the consequences of his choices. The circumstances surrounding his return are complex. Johnny returns at a time of crisis in the city. Some see him as a traitor who fled his responsibilities, while others see him as a figure who can bring hope for change. This duality in the character's perception is crucial to understanding the dynamics of the plot. Johnny's return is therefore an event that not only impacts his life, but also provokes reflections on what it means to return home. Johnny's motivation to return is driven by a desire for reconciliation. He longs to repair broken ties with friends and family, but also faces the challenge of coming to terms with his past. This search for acceptance and forgiveness is a theme that resonates throughout the narrative, showing that, no matter how much a person changes, the past always leaves its mark. Johnny, in this sense, becomes a symbol of struggle and overcoming. Johnny Walk's evolution throughout the story is also marked by his interactions with other characters, especially with the Hardline Sheriff. The relationship between the two is tense and full of conflicts, revealing the different views they each have on justice and morality. The way Johnny deals with this authoritarian figure is a reflection of his own journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Ultimately, Johnny Walk's return is a turning point in the narrative, serving as a catalyst for the events that unfold. His presence causes changes in the relationships between the characters and makes everyone reevaluate their values and choices. Thus, Johnny's return is not just a matter of returning to a place, but rather of facing what that place represents in his life. Development of the Hardline Sheriff. The Hardline Sheriff is an imposing figure in history, representing authority and order, in a city marked by conflict. His trajectory is marked by an incessant search for control and justice, but this search often proves problematic. He is a character who, although he has good intentions, is led by a rigid and inflexible view of the law. This characteristic ends up generating friction, especially with Johnny Walk. The sheriff's motivations are influenced by his own personal history. He grew up in an environment where discipline and obedience were paramount, and this shaped his worldview. For him, the law is the only way to maintain peace, and any deviation from it is seen as a threat. This mentality leads him into direct confrontation with Johnny, who represents everything he disapproves of: rebellion and disobedience. The relationship between the sheriff and Johnny is complex, filled with tension and rivalry. As Johnny seeks redemption, the sheriff finds himself challenged to question his beliefs and methods. The interaction between the two characters serves as a mirror of the internal struggles each one faces. The sheriff, on one hand, feels he needs to maintain order, and on the other hand, he begins to realize that his actions may be harming the community he swore to protect. Throughout the story, the development of the Hardline Sheriff also reveals his vulnerabilities. Despite his authoritarian stance, he is a man who carries his insecurities and fears. This makes him a more human character, allowing readers to see that, behind the tough facade, there is a man who is also seeking his own form of acceptance and respect. Ultimately, the Hardline Sheriff is more than an antagonist. It is a reflection of the social tensions and difficulties that often arise when different views of morality and justice collide. The evolution of this character throughout the narrative is as important as that of Johnny Walk, as both are, in different ways, in search of a path that will lead them to understanding and reconciliation. Conflicts and tensions. The conflicts between Johnny Walk and the Hardline Sheriff are the beating heart of the narrative. From the moment Johnny sets foot in the city, the tension is palpable. The sheriff, who sees Johnny as a threat to the order he tries to maintain, doesn't hesitate to confront him. This dynamic is not just personal, it reflects a larger battle between freedom and control, between rebellion and conformity. One of the main conflicts arises from the difference in perspectives between the two characters. While Johnny represents the pursuit of personal justice and freedom, the sheriff embodies the idea that the law must be followed at all costs. This difference in values generates a series of confrontations that are not only physical, but also emotional. Both characters have their reasons, and this makes readers question who is right or wrong. These conflicts also serve as a microcosm of broader issues present in society. The fight between Johnny and the sheriff can be seen as a reflection on how communities deal with change and transitions. Johnny, upon returning, brings with him the need to reevaluate what is considered right and wrong, challenging the sheriff's rigid vision. This clash of ideas is one of the most interesting aspects of the work. Furthermore, the conflicts between them also reveal the weaknesses of each character. The sheriff, when trying to impose his vision of justice, ends up becoming obsessed, which leads him to make impulsive decisions. Johnny, in turn, struggles with his own demons, and this internal struggle often translates into actions that put both of them in dangerous situations. In this way, the tension between them is both external and internal, creating a narrative rich in nuances. In the end, the conflicts and tensions between Johnny Walk and the Hardline Sheriff are not limited to a mere dispute between two characters. They represent the complexity of human relationships and the difficulties that arise when different worldviews collide. This layer of depth makes the story more engaging and thought-provoking, leading the reader to reflect on their own beliefs and values. Impact on the community. Johnny Walk's return to the city had a profound effect on the local community. People began to look at him with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. For many, Johnny was an old acquaintance, someone who had left a mark on the history of the place. However, what he brought with him after this time away was a shadow of uncertainty and memories that weren't exactly good. The presence of Sheriff Hardline only increased this tension, as he represented law and order, at a time when the community seemed to be on the verge of collapse. The interactions between Johnny and the townspeople reflected the division his return caused. Some people were willing to support him, remembering the times when he was a promising young man. Others, however, saw him as just an outsider who shouldn't have returned. This polarization began to affect relationships between friends and family, creating an environment of suspicion and fear. Conversations in the squares and cafes revolved around Johnny, with rumors spreading quickly. Meanwhile, Sheriff Hardline became a central figure in the community's dynamics. He not only represented the law, but also saw himself as the guardian of the city's traditional values. With Johnny's return, the sheriff felt the need to reassert his authority, which led him to take harsh and often unpopular actions. This stance generated heated debates among residents about what was best for the city, welcoming Johnny or keeping him at a distance. The impact of Johnny's return and the presence of Sheriff Hardline also exposed deeper questions about the community's identity. Citizens began to question who they were and what they wanted to be. The struggle between the past and the future became palpable, and Johnny's figure symbolized this internal battle. The city was divided, and tension was evident around every corner, as people tried to find a balance between their memories and current reality. These changes in community dynamics culminated in a climate of uncertainty and expectation. People wondered if they could trust Johnny, or if the sheriff was truly acting in the name of everyone's well-being. Johnny Walk's return, therefore, was not just a personal matter. It was a reflection of how communities deal with change, memories, and the struggle for identity. Action and suspense elements. Johnny Walk's return wasn't just a reintroduction of a character. It was also a catalyst for a series of action-packed and suspenseful events. From the moment he steps back into the city, an electric atmosphere takes hold. People feel like something is going to happen, and that expectation is palpable. Sheriff Lynn Hadura, in turn, is on high alert, ready to act if the situation gets out of control. The scenes depicting the interaction between Johnny and the sheriff are full of tension. A simple meeting between the two can quickly turn into an exchange of heated words, leading to physical confrontations. These moments not only keep the audience on the edge of their seats, but also reveal a lot about the character's psychology. What appears to be a simple clash of wills can, in fact, be a battle of ideals and values. Another crucial element of the suspense is the way Johnny is perceived by the community. While some see him as a hero seeking redemption, others consider him a threat. This play of perceptions creates an environment conducive to the development of dramatic scenes, where the tension between Johnny and the sheriff is palpable, and viewers never know if the situation will escalate or if there will be a peaceful resolution. The action scenes are carefully constructed, with the author using vivid descriptions that transport the reader into the heart of the action. When Johnny finds himself in dangerous situations, such as chases or ambushes, the pace of the narrative accelerates, increasing the adrenaline. Every move and every decision is crucial, and this keeps the audience eager to know what will happen next. Furthermore, the suspense elements are reinforced by the soundtrack and visual effects, if we are talking about an audio-visual adaptation. The music increases the tension, while the close-ups of apprehensive faces and environmental details create an atmosphere of fear and expectation. This combination of action and suspense is what makes Johnny Walk's return a memorable moment, captivating the audience and leaving them eager for more. Public and critical reception. When Johnny Walk made his return, expectations were high. Audiences were already familiar with his character, and many were eager to see what new he would bring to the story. Opinions, however, were diverse. For some, the return was a breath of life into the narrative, bringing back the complexity and depth that characterized its trajectory. Others, however, felt that Johnny's return did not add much, and that some questions left open could have been better explored. In this mix of feelings, it was clear that the public was divided between those who wanted more from Johnny and those who thought he had already fulfilled his role. If you were intrigued by the reactions to Johnny Walk's return and want to understand more about the complexity of Old West narratives, you can't miss our exclusive guide, Legends of the Wild West. Immerse yourself in the stories, characters, and dilemmas that shaped this fascinating era, and discover insights that will enrich your perspective on the plot. Don't waste time. Click on the link in the pinned comment and take your literary experience to a new level. The critics, in turn, also had their reservations. Some critics praised the way the author managed to reintroduce Johnny Walk, highlighting the character's evolution and the new layers that were added to his story. They pointed out that the return was not just a way to revive an old hero, but an opportunity to explore themes like redemption and transformation. However, there were those who criticized the way the narrative unfolded, stating that the construction of the return could have been more solid, and that some passages seemed forced. Another point that generated debate was the representation of the Hardline Sheriff. While some critics appreciated the character's development, seeing him as a well-constructed and complex antagonist, others felt that he did not bring enough news in relation to similar characters from other works. The comparison with other fictional sheriffs was inevitable, and many wondered if Hardline really managed to stand out in this saturated scenario. This discussion brought up questions about stereotypes and the need for more innovative characters. And when talking about comparison, one cannot fail to mention how Johnny Walk's return aligns with or distances itself from the author's previous works. Many readers were quick to draw parallels between this new narrative and Johnny's past experiences, as well as other characters who have been through similar situations. This analysis revealed a pattern that for some was comforting, while for others, it seemed like unnecessary repetition. Criticism focused on discussing whether the author was accommodating himself to already known formulas, or whether he was, in fact, refining his art. Lastly, public and critical reception was also shaped by how the narrative connected with contemporary issues. The story of Johnny Walk and Sheriff Hardline resonated with current themes, such as justice and morality, making many identify with the characters' struggles and dilemmas. This emotional connection strengthened the appreciation of the work, even among those who had criticisms to make. Thus, Johnny Walk's return was not only a milestone in the narrative, but also a starting point for broader discussions about the human condition, ethics, and the choices we make in moments of crisis. As the sun set over the horizon of the Old West, Johnny Walk prepared to face his greatest challenge. Sheriff Hardline, known for his heavy hand and penetrating gaze, had become a ghost that haunted everyone. But Johnny was not a man to back down. He knew that the truth needed to be revealed, and that justice, even in difficult times, would always find a way. With courage in his heart and an audacious plan in his mind, Johnny walked through the city, each step echoing like a call to action. What really happened that fateful night? Was Sheriff Hardline just a villain, or was there more to his story than met the eye? The answers were close, and Johnny was determined to find them. And you, the viewer, what do you think will happen next? Will Johnny be able to unmask the sheriff before it's too late? Or will the truth be buried beneath the desert dust? Don't forget to leave your opinions in the comments. After all, every story has multiple facets, and we want to hear yours. Get ready, because the Wild West has never been so exciting. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Old West, where every shadow hides a secret and every look reveals a story. Your presence is what makes our community even stronger and vibrant. And now, a special request. Share this video with those you know will enjoy this rich and engaging narrative. When you share, you're not just spreading a good story, is inviting others to join us on this emotional and intellectual adventure. Every comment you leave is a spark that lights our path and inspires us to continue creating content that stirs the imagination and provokes deep reflections. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to be the first to know when a new video is available. Your interest is the force that moves us to continue exploring the most hidden corners of the Old West, and bringing you stories that not only entertain, but also educate and inspire. And before we go, leave a comment with your impressions, theories, and predictions. Your voice is an essential part of this collective narrative. Now get ready for the next chapter in this epic saga. The video that will appear on your screen is the continuation of a story that does not end here, but unfolds into new mysteries and revelations. See you soon, and may the spirit of the Wild West continue to inspire great adventures in your life.